And welcome back. So much to talk about, not only Ferguson, but of course the resignation of Chuck Hagel and the Iran deal, which it still hasn't been realized, thank goodness. Bill Kristol, editor of the Weekly Standard, joins us. Hello, sir.
Steve, how are you?
I'm okay. I was up till about 2:30 in the morning. I'm usually up till 2, but I couldn't turn the TV off watching all the coverage and just the lunacy and the right. By the way, where were the horrific militaristic police force saving those businesses from being looted and burnt to the ground?
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't watch it, but I got to say, 2 or 3 people here in the office also sort of found it in a weird way irresistible to watch, but appalling and depressing. I mean, that's, I guess, the way I felt. It's just demoralizing to see that, so many in the media and so many public figures are so irresponsible, ginning up anger and discontent to a degree that it obviously becomes violence, and then the police force doesn't protect property, which is kind of a fundamental, or people, which is kind of a fundamental principle of how our country is supposed to work. I've been saying to someone, I said to someone earlier today, law and order isn't just a political slogan. It is that, and it can be used like any political slogan in a little misleading ways. But law and order is really a principle of a civilized society. And just to stand by and let these people loot small businesses, people put their life savings in, and then the police force doesn't protect them. It's really, really terrible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just want you to hear what the president had to say. They had him on split screen. It was really awful. The rioting was just starting as he started telling people to be calm. But do we have that? What the president said? Here's what the president said.
First and foremost, we are a nation built on the rule of law. And so we need to accept that this decision was the grand jury's to make. There are Americans who agree with it, and there are Americans who are deeply disappointed, even angry. It's an understandable reaction.
And he called it being angry an understandable reaction. Doesn't it just pour more fuel on the fire?
I mean, yeah, I think it could, and it's just, I mean, he's trying to be, I guess, placate people and stuff. I wasn't too offended by his remarks in general, but it is foolish, and it shows how, I mean, look, this is not a question of let's pick up sides, or I've got my opinion about it. I don't know anything about it. None of us knows anything about it compared to what the grand jury knows. It's a legal question. It's a detailed question. It's a question of physical evidence, which none of us has seen. We may have heard about it secondhand. And the whole point of the way a liberal democracy based on the rule of law like ours is supposed to work, and it's really a contrast with totalitarian regimes or kind of older dictatorships, is you do not politicize acts of crime. You do not politicize controversial incidents like this. You let the system take care of them. Otherwise, every group will just get its demagogues. The African-American community has its demagogues, but frankly, the pro-police forces could also have their demagogues, right? And you don't want a society in which every public figure is taking every time there's a close call, if there was a close call, where a cop shoots someone who he thinks is attacking him, and maybe he is, maybe he wasn't, and have a huge national debate about it. And in that respect, I think that what the president said is wrong. We're not really entitled to even have an opinion about it in a way. I mean, we certainly if you're a responsible public figure like the president, you should make clear that this is not your place to be weighing in with your guess as to whether, maybe he didn't have to shoot, maybe he could have, maybe he did have to shoot, maybe the guy was charging, maybe the guy was walking slowly. It's not, it's inappropriate to even speculate about it if you're in a position of responsibility.
All right, let's talk about, you wrote a great piece, How Do You Spell Scapegoat, Hagel. You believe the president's using him as a scapegoat for failed foreign policy, especially with regard to ISIS in Syria?
Yes, and I was opposed to Hagel's nomination and confirmation. I think I was right that he wasn't up to the job. Having said that, he did what the president wanted. The areas where he disagreed with the president, Hagel seems to have been correct on ISIS being a big threat and on being unwise to free all the guys who were in Guantanamo. He was trying to defend, do his best to represent the views of the Defense Department. You have a bunch of kids in the White House, staffers in the White House, Panetta reported this, Gates reported this, who treat, serious people, and Hagel's not the best, but nonetheless, people who have, served the country a long time, senior military guys, senior civilians, with kind of contempt and with arrogance as White House staffers. It's really, White House staffers are often arrogant in all, administrations, but I've never seen a group like this, and I'm sympathetic to Hagel. He was thrown under the bus. He's not the problem. Obama's the problem. The White House is the problem. Chuck Hagel was not a strong Secretary of Defense, but he was not the problem in Obama's foreign policy.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 30 seconds left, so very quickly, this postponement of the deadline, it just gives more time to Iran.
Totally. Congress has to step up and increase sanctions. The Republicans are pretty united on that. I think Democrats might break with Obama finally after the election. They should break with him because it's the right thing to do.
All right, Bill, have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for all you do for us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Bill Kristol, ladies and gentlemen, Weekly Standard. When we come back, former Navy SEAL and FBI agent Jonathan Gilliam, and we'll get his take on Ferguson. Don't go away.